I know AI is something that I need to kind of get my head around. How do I navigate it, especially from a faith perspective? How do I use this in a positive way?
Yeah, I suppose, as a church, we're always putting across, well, how do we transmit faith in the vernacular? How do we speak it in a language of today? And I suppose digital is a huge part of our world today, and how can we transmit our faith in the vernacular?
Hello and welcome to The Way. I'm Wendy Grace. Well, one of the issues that everyone is talking about and is changing so rapidly is artificial intelligence. So, what impact is that going to have on our faith, how we communicate our faith, how we learn about our faith? Is it a good thing? Is it a bad thing? Is it both? Well, join with me to discuss this is someone who's definitely becoming an expert in this area because she's focusing on artificial intelligence in her doctorate that she's in the middle of at the moment. It's great to be joined in studio by Natalie Doherty. Natalie, great to have you with us.
Yeah.
So we'll hear a little bit about your doctorate shortly, but you've kind of been interested in the area of the online world and technology for quite some time now. Take us back a little bit to when you did your kind of first faith-based website and videos.
Yeah, so I was based in a parish as a parish catechist, faith development worker, and we noticed that we were putting on, catechetical sessions for parents to help them, particularly preparing for the sacraments. But a lot of them, where we were based in the parish, a lot of parents worked in hospitals, worked in local industrial estates. So the regular 9 to 5 didn't quite apply to families. And we're very quick to say, oh, they're not interested, they don't want to engage. But sometimes family life nowadays
It's
doesn't quite,
busy, yeah.
yeah, it doesn't quite meet that. So we decided, well, what could we do to be able to support families in a time frame that suited them in their family life? So I was always kind of into a bit of tech, bit of this, that, and the other. So I learned how to build a website. We then changed the front room of the presbytery into like a recording studio. And myself and the priest that I worked with at the time, we started recording videos, making content, and putting it up on the website for parents to engage with at a time that suited their family life.
And it worked. It was really popular.
Yeah, like a really, really popular. And then it came into its own because this all happened pre-COVID. So then it meant that when COVID hit, it was nearly business as usual for us within the parish because we had laid the foundation of all that happening. So during COVID, we ended up making, basic videos of our responses at Mass, put it up on our little YouTube channel. How do you actually receive Holy Communion? Because all that practice, all that work we would have done with particularly communion children didn't get to happen because of COVID. So it's how can we best support? So that kind of developed over time. Then I decided to study computer programming because what else would you do when you've like 5 minutes of spare time? And it snowballed, and I suppose I was beginning to see the benefit very much on the ground of this actually works. This is needed. That kind of hybrid model that how do we do things for parents, supports families at home, and then marry that with encounters within the parish setting. So getting that
The
balance.
balance right of you need to be in the digital space, you got to be in the online world, create digital resources, and also person to person. It's not a one or the other type of thing.
No, it's not. It's very much kind of two sides of the one coin that we have our, our weekend celebrations of mass that people can come to. And we all also put, sessions on, support sessions, but again, it doesn't necessarily suit family life. People don't work a 9 to 5, like I don't work a 9 to 5. So how do you marry that all
But yeah,
together?
you're not excluding anyone,
Exactly.
therefore, by creating resources that are accessible all the time.
Yeah.
Okay, so fast forward now to today, where people didn't even know what AI was 10 years ago. Now it's all people are talking about. It's integrated into so many people's work days already. It's kind of evolving at such a rapid rate. I think
Yeah.
some people find it quite terrifying, going, where is this going to be in 5 years? You've decided to focus on this in a doctorate. Tell us a little bit about it and what you've kind of learned so far.
Yeah, so I'm on a doctoral program in DCU called the Professional Doctor in Education, and there's different specialties within that. And the one that I'm doing is contemporary and emergent technologies. So I started a year ago, and initially I was focusing on the role of video and how video might have an impact on parish-based catechesis. So kind of still kind of in the discerning phase, but I was kind of looking at video, and I was kind of pushing artificial intelligence away all the time, going, no, 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 this isn't for me. I don't have the capacity to even understand it, let alone do research on it. And then, it's always like those little, God incidences, as I like to say, it just kept coming in different aspects,
Pushing you in
different
that
ways,
direction.
pushing that I just couldn't ignore it any longer. And then earlier on this year, the Vatican brought out the document Antiqua et Nova, and it's talking about, well, how do we engage with artificial intelligence and getting that balance with it. And then through my work, it's constantly coming up. Young people are constantly talking about, well, I use it to create exercise plans. I use it to create, a diet plan. I use it for writing professional emails in work. As you said, we're hearing it everywhere. It's coming up in, research for cancer. It's like it's everywhere. It's on our WhatsApp. It's
It
on our
it's something that, well, you don't, if when you say you can't avoid, that makes it sound negative, and there has been a lot of talk of the kind of the dangers that it could pose depending on how it evolves and all that sort of stuff. At this moment in time, for a person of faith, how can we utilize this? We're going, this is happening. How can we utilize it to really share our faiths, to communicate with people? Is it something that can be used for the common good, do you think?
I do think it can be, as I said, like I've kind of avoided AI, but now I can't avoid it any longer. It's coming at me, and I'm seeing how particularly young people are using it to ask basic questions of faith, that they're nearly using it as a
Prompts, yeah.
yeah, a prompt for. So it's looking at, well, how do we utilize it? How do we incorporate it? But how do we not rely on it?
For everything, where it replaces relationships.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So it's getting that balance between, how do we see it as an enhancement but not as an end in itself? How can we incorporate it in a balanced way? How do we, again, like what I was saying before, that we get that hybrid nature, that it doesn't replace encounter, it doesn't replace community, but it can be used as a tool to.
Help us be better digital missionaries. I know that's something Pope
Yeah.
Francis talked about a lot. I just wanted to ask, Natalie, finally, you have a piece in this month's Intercom magazine. Tell us a little bit about what you're writing about.
So I was just kind of beginning to talk about the topic of where might it have impact within a parish, a church setting. So it could be creating a social media post, all the way up to a homily for a Sunday weekend. That there's that mixture there, but we also need to look at it from an ethical perspective. The environmental aspect of data centers, like it's so far reaching, and there's loads to talk about
At the
this
amount
from
of
a.
jobs that could be lost. But I suppose during the Industrial Revolution, there would have been the same fears. And
Yeah.
some would say, is this just another type
Yeah.
of Industrial Revolution?
Yeah, and Pope Leo referenced that when he announced, in his first address to the College of Cardinals, and he was like saying to them, "Why have I picked the name, Leo the 14th?" And he made reference to Rerum Novarum, and he said, our modern day, is artificial intelligence as to what was happening at the time of Rerum Novarum. So yeah, it's how do we navigate our world today? Yeah.
So finally, for somebody watching, Natalie, who's saying, like you felt when you were thinking, will I go for this in the doctorate? I know AI is something that I need to kind of get my head around. How do I navigate it, especially from a faith perspective? How do I use this in a positive way?
Yeah, I suppose, as a church, we're always putting across, well, how do we transmit faith in the vernacular? How do we speak it in a language of today? And I suppose digital is a huge part of our world today. And how can we transmit our faith in the vernacular? How can we use various different tools, opportunities to enhance things? So I suppose seeing that as a way to boost up everything that we're doing, rather than, yes, there are negatives. There's going to be negatives to everything. There's going to be fears, but how can we enhance and speak the language of our faith and communicate it in our positive way today?
So it can help us communicate on the one hand, but maybe on the other as well, if AI takes the human touch away from the world too much, people will be actually rejecting secularism more and seeking authenticity and connection and relationship through their faith.
Yeah, definitely. Like, I think people are getting to a point where they realize actually enough is enough, that they kind of have to nearly tip over the edge of, oh, well, I've overused apps. I spend so much on my phone, and they're kind of bringing it back now. So it's again trying to get that
The
healthy
balance.
balance.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
That seems to be the word of the day.
Yeah.
Well, thanks so much for joining us. Best of luck as you continue on this journey. We can't wait to hear more about the doctorate when it's all finished. And the official title is rubber stamped on it. It's been lovely to have you with us today.
Thank
Natalie Doherty, thanks for joining us on the way. And thank you, as always, for being with us.